All right, Sue, this is it. Last one.
Last one.
Can we knock it out of the park one more time?
today.
Heck yes, we can. CBC has a new drama starting called Fortunate Son.
Had the song in my head.
Right, little CCR.
Oh, yeah.
Gets you in the mood, right?
And I love the fact that everything I've read about the storyline, despite being set in the 60s, still sounds incredibly relevant for everything that's going on today. So being pulled
Which
in...
is sad.
It's kind of sad that that's still a thing. I'm kind of interested on your guys' take on that thought process. I mean, obviously as actors you're getting to tell this story, and do you see how relevant it is to today's time, and does that affect your performances, or do you try to go in?
Do we see that there's a nefarious power in
Oh,
charge of people? No. I mean, this is just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, hypothetically.
That might actually be controlling people's decisions about their lives, and might not have the interest of the public.
Right.
Do we see that? I don't know. No, there's no parallels. None at all.
I don't even know why this show's on. Just for fun.
But it is an interesting thing that, you think, however many years it is later, I mean, what is it, 50 years?
50 years.
That we would have learned a thing or two, and I think some of us have, and I think some of us haven't, and I think as a bigger society, we still have not.
And I think that if you go back 50 years and you look at, say, we all think of Woodstock, we all think of those sorts of things, and if you ask those people if they thought that they would be living in a different society now, they would, everyone to a man would say yes. And yet, it really is not that different. There are many technological advances, but the disparity between people coming together is more than I think we've seen it in our lifetimes.
And there are things that are better, I mean, I think in most societies now, we don't think twice about two men being together or two women being together. There's all kinds of things that...
Civil rights.
Yes, and there are all kinds of things that have improved, but I don't think that the record's been turned over to the other side yet.
No. No, it hasn't.
By throwing record in there, how do you not talk about the music?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, obviously...
I'm obviously not old enough to know what a record is, so
No.
you're going to have to explain that to me.
Damn it.
Of everyone on the couch, you are the least likely to know.
Wow. Okay, how do I explain? But yeah, some of the musical choices, I mean, I can just imagine, like, what can be coming down the pipe just for music-wise, and then...
Each episode is named after a song.
Oh, don't do that to me.
And so one of the beautiful things about getting the script, and I won't give it all away, obviously, but is that when you get the script, the title of the episode is this song. So, and Andrew also sort of layers in ideas of music within it as well. So when you're doing your research, as we do, especially when you're doing a fact-based drama, you get to listen to that music to set you up and get you into the headspace, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we listen to the music in the Hair and Makeup trailer every morning. That sort of playlist of late 60s music.
Which is literally my Spotify list now.
Yeah.
I know it's some of my favorite music. Yeah, in fact, there was a time in my life where I thought that I'm never going to listen to any other era, because why would you?
Right? There's a reason that kind of music still endures.
Absolutely.
And because all the same themes that are being presented in the show, talking about, dealing with racism or anti-war thoughts, all those things were so big in the 60s that it couldn't help but be translated into popular culture and the music. So it makes sense that music is going to play an important part in the series. Yeah.
Yeah, it holds resonance.
Yeah. And of course, that's why it's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dusty Springfield.
Don't start a list.
Okay.
Do start a list.
Yeah, I should. It's just, So I love that. I totally dig on everything that this show looks like it's going to play out to be, because I love the idea that running from the States to come to Canada and everything that's going to, what I think is going to play out versus what is actually going to play out.
Yeah.
But also, also with this giant political thematic that we're playing, and musical, and all of those elements, it's also the story of how a family exists, and how one's children don't necessarily turn into what you want them to, or reflections of you, or sometimes they're better than you, or whatever, and our drama is about Kari's family dealing with being on the run and dealing with political activism and interloper coming into their world. Yeah, a little broken toy coming in, broken soldier.
That's right.
And how that, you know, how that is resonant for them, and how that changes their views of each other and themselves.
Which, to go back to the broken soldier thing, I mean, there was never a war like Vietnam. There hasn't been a war since there's been like Vietnam. What did you do to kind of prepare for that? I mean, coming off, your character comes off of his first tour. He's been selected to go back for a second. So he's back in, you know, going back to the green.
Against everyone's better judgment.
I mean,
What did...
how did that affect you mentally, and how did you prepare for it?
Sorry, to clarify on the mental part.
Oh, how did that affect your mental preparation to kind of get in that mindset?
Yeah, you know, I've said this earlier today, and I think that most of the guys who were going over there, at least at the beginning, thought they were being heroes, right? Just like all the wars before, and they saw the guys come back and the parades, and you know how they were recognized and respected. And Travis is a pretty straightforward guy, you know. He thinks the government would never tell him wrong. And it's kind of fun throughout the series. We see his eyes really open, and he sees the world through a different lens, so to speak. And in preparing for it, you know, Ken Burns' documentary that we've talked about, unbelievable.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I knew a lot about the war, and then I watched that, and just mind blown. Yeah. But Andrew was great at what he wrote for us. He gave us a lot to work with, too. We're really fortunate with how good of a writer he is, and how in-depth he gets with his characters. Little nuances. And nothing is surfacey, that's for sure. Yeah.
Now, in television, of course, you know, everything's shot in blocks and shot out of sequence. Did you guys get a chance to get together, rehearse, do like table reads or anything first off? Do you guys do that like on a weekly basis for each episode? How does that play out for you guys?
We shot in blocks of 4, so we did 8 episodes altogether. We did 2 blocks of 4, and I think at first, I mean, I'd never shot like that before. Not 4.
That was the hardest part of the job for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Usually 2, 3, you know, but 4's unusual.
That was hard.
Yeah, it was difficult. So we were lucky enough, especially before the first block, we had a number of rehearsals, sitting down and reading, talking about our characters, honing things in the script, questioning things. So we had time to settle in the beginning. The second block we just had a read through one Sunday, actually. So just because there wasn't time. Once you're in the the machine shooting, there just isn't a lot of time to think about things so much on that level.
Andrew and Stephen did such a great job with us at the beginning, really setting us in the right path.
Yeah, they did.
Figuring it out together, collaboratively too. They were both so open.
Yeah, we just had days of sitting around talking, which is highly unusual. Yeah, it's a real luxury.
They're very responsive to our questions or
because I wanted to definitely follow up on that, just because you don't hear like that kind of thing happening for a lot of TV shows, and especially something like this, you kind of want to make sure everybody kind of got a chance to sit down and kind of talk.
And sometimes it's really nice to not rehearse if you've had the opportunity to speak about it. So we had a really nice day together where we sat down with Stephen and Andrew, and we just talked through what it was, what the relationship was, what, you know, you do all those classic drama schools. What do I want from you? What am I coming into the room with? What am I going to walk out of the room with that I didn't have when I came in? Those sorts of things. And then there comes a point where you can actually sort of leave it alone, because you don't want to
You don't want to necessarily tell each other all your secrets.
Exactly. And there are those lovely times where you know the director will come in and take you aside and give you a piece of information that the other person doesn't get. Those kinds of things. And that's just the exciting process of, somebody said to me the other day, process or performance. What do you like? Process or performance? And I was like, process. It's absolutely about process. It's about the mechanics of it and playing. You know, the word play is what we do, and this is a really, really strong cast all the way through, and there was a lot of playing and a lot of processing. It was fantastic.
Yeah. That's where the authenticity is.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
As opposed to performance, which is not a lot of the time.
Yeah, it seemed to just be a common link that we were all interested in making a really interesting piece.
We had an interesting theme where we had for certain reasons there was a weather issue, and we had to come back to it, and it was fascinating coming back to it. We didn't speak about it. We just came back to it like a week later, or 2 weeks later, whatever it was, and it was different, and it felt different because there's sort of things that you know about each other, and the things that you know that are going to happen, and that doesn't usually happen in TV, you know, because it's not like a play where you're doing it over and over and over, and you're learning things, you know. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it was.
And now, to wrap it up, I want to bring out favorite song from the era,
Like we're coming back to
or
music.
favorite fashion item you'd bring back from
Oh.
That's good.
Okay, I got mine.
Okay, go.
Do it, bro. Get in there.
My Zippo, but I have one of them.
Oh, yeah. I read that all the soldiers who went to Vietnam, they carried the Zippo.
Yeah.
They didn't carry a Bic, they didn't carry anything else, they carried a Zippo.
Yeah, so my character always has a Zippo.
Didn't they
that
get
he's
one?
playing with.
Didn't they get one as part of their
As their
I
kit
think
I'm not
so.
sure, maybe.
their kit, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Feel like
Yeah.
they
The lights
did.
in anything.
Yeah.
And I would say...
What's the song?
Oh, man. You know what? Fortunate Son. Because on the way to my Skype
Yes, that's right. You told me that.
meeting with Stephen and Andrew, which I think was my third audition I'd done for it, I'm sitting at a light, and I've driven about a half an hour in the car in LA with my windows down. My girlfriend's with me, and we're just running the lines as we're pulling up to the studio. Last light before I pull into the studio, old guy, I can still see it, pulls out next to us in like a maybe early 2000s Pathfinder, and he's blasting Fortunate Son.
Amazing.
It's the only song I heard the whole car ride there. Like, what are the chances of that?
Awesome.
I will say that I then went into the to the audition like a lot more at ease. I was like, this just seems like it's supposed to happen. Let's just roll with this. See what goes down.
That's awesome.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, there's so many songs. I mean, there's just so many songs that I love. How do you choose? How do you choose? I don't know. I'm going to go with Fortunate Son too.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, I had a moment also when I was waiting to hear about whether or not I got this part, and I desperately had to play this part, was just moved beyond measure to play this part. I had this moment where I was shopping in Whole Foods or something like that, and I was thinking about it, and I heard this, I had those moments where like, okay, give me a sign, give me a sign, and literally Fortunate Son came on.
Yes.
And I was like,
Wow.
That's very cool.
yeah. And the thing from fashion that I would bring back is just more weird white shoes. I think the world needs more weird.
Not at all where I thought you were going.
Love it. I love it.
Why not?
Yeah, that's really thrown me, the white shoes thing. I was a gigantic Doors fan. It would probably be Break On Through to the Other Side, which seems so sort of emblematic of what the hope was.
Yeah.
Even if that was a metaphor, and I don't know, fashion.
Short sleeve dress shirt. Come on.
Actually, do you know what?
In LA in the summer?
Yeah, man. I always wear t-shirts. I literally don't have a shirt in my bag at all, and I've been traveling for 6 months. There's not one button-up shirt. But my character wears these little like polyester classic button-up short-sleeve shirts, and I really enjoyed that look. So I'm going for polyester, where it kind of makes your hair stand on end, static. Yeah, there you go.
That's amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to see where this goes.
Cool.
Because
I hope you enjoy this.
Soundtrack galore. My Spotify will be like, oh, I don't have that song. That's not going to happen a lot.
No. We have a love on for little Zoe DeGromme's on as well.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Cool,
So
cool,
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
It's an awesome.
I was like, oh my God, she fits in this decade so perfectly and
Totally.
naturally. I was
It's
like,
a good cast, man.
yeah.
So excited.
Everybody.
Thank you.
All right, we have
Thank
to
you so
do
much.
a little-
Nice to meet you.
So much.
Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you.
And I'm sure you
Nice
get this
meeting
all
you.
the
Nice
time,
meeting
but my girlfriend is binging